Ever get stuck in that worry loop when your brain
Yeah.
just spins and spins on a
Yeah.
problem, but the worry itself, like, doesn't actually get you any closer to a solution?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
That's what we're diving into today with the single thought-provoking excerpt, actually, from Se Pegó el Texto.
I'm intrigued.
It's really interesting. It's about worry, ego, and, how
Okay.
the world just keeps ticking, even when we feel stuck.
It's funny you should say that because what I found fascinating about this excerpt is how direct it is.
Yeah.
It's like someone is laying out these like personal truths
Right.
about worry, almost like affirmations.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like those little things you tell yourself in the mirror, except, about this really universal human experience.
Exactly.
And it challenges us to really look at how we approach problems.
It really does just jump right in, doesn't it? It's like, bam.
Yeah.
Like that line, my worry is not the solution.
Right.
It makes you stop and think.
Yeah.
How often is our worry actually useful?
I think that's such a good question to ask yourself because honestly, how often is it? And this excerpt goes even deeper because it starts to question the role that our ego plays in all of this.
Okay.
How often does our worry come from this need to feel in control
Right.
rather than a place of genuine concern or a desire to actually do something productive?
That's such a good point. It's like we worry because it makes us feel like we're doing something right, even if that something isn't actually helping the situation.
Right.
It reminds me of this one time. I was so convinced I was going to completely bomb this presentation at work.
Oh, no.
I spent days stressing about it. I barely slept. I must have rehearsed it a million times.
So you were probably running on fumes by the time you actually had to give the presentation.
Totally. But you know what? It went fine.
Of course it did.
The world didn't end.
Right.
And afterwards, I just remember thinking all that worry for nothing. It was just me trying to control something that honestly, had a life of its own outside of my head.
It's so true.
And then actually it ties in perfectly with the next part of the excerpt.
Let's hear it.
It says, the world keeps finding solutions with me or without me.
I love that line. It's so powerful because it highlights something we often forget. We're not the center of the universe.
Right.
As much as it can feel that way when we're like totally consumed by worry.
Yeah.
And it's not about saying that we don't matter or that individual value is meaningless, but rather it's acknowledging that things often work out on their own, even without our constant, fretting and intervention.
It does make you think about all those times you've stressed about things that ended up being like totally fine, even when you didn't, lift a finger to try and fix them.
Exactly.
It's a little humbling, isn't it?
It is. It is.
The excerpt doesn't stop there, though. It goes on to say, to worry is a flaw, not a virtue.
Whoa.
That's a bold statement.
It really is. It challenges this like deeply ingrained idea that to worry means you're responsible.
Right.
Like it's a good thing, a sign that you care.
Yes.
But what if, and hear me out, what if true responsibility is actually about recognizing when that worry is productive, when it actually spurs you on to take positive action,
Right.
and when it's really just holding you back?
So how can we tell the difference? Like, how do we actually distinguish between, like you said, that productive concern, the kind that actually motivates us to take action, and the kind of worry that just paralyzes us?
That's where self-awareness comes in.
Okay.
You gotta ask yourself, is this worry actually leading me to any concrete solutions? Is it pushing me towards taking any real action?
Right.
Or am I just replaying, all these worst case scenarios in my head over and over again?
Yeah.
If it's the latter, then, well, it might be time to, explore some healthier coping mechanisms like mindfulness or really focusing on what you can control in the present moment.
It's about like shifting that energy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of energy, I was really struck by how much this excerpt emphasizes letting go. Like it says, people die and the world keeps finding solutions, people leave their jobs and everything keeps going. It's like a reminder that life, it goes on, even when things change, sometimes in really big ways.
It's a very, almost a stoic perspective when you should say, like stoicism is this ancient school of thought that basically encourages you to, accept what you can't control.
Right.
And to focus your energy instead on your own thoughts and actions.
Yeah.
It's about finding that place of peace, in the present moment, rather than constantly dwelling on anxieties about the future.
Wow. This deep dive has been such an eye-opener. This excerpt, even though it's short, it's just so blunt and honest.
It
It
is.
really does make you want to rethink, like, your whole relationship with worry, doesn't it?
It does.
And it's not about being careless or irresponsible,
No, not really.
but rather about recognizing when our worry is helpful and when it's
Yeah.
really just, holding us back from experiencing life, more fully. Yeah.
It is. It's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
And I think that brings up an interesting question for all of us listening. If the world, as this excerpt suggests, continues to find solutions with or without our constant worry, how can we take all that energy we usually spend on anxiety and redirect it? What becomes possible when we, loosen the grip of unnecessary anxiety and really embrace the present moment?
That's something to think about.